Do you ever feel like life is slipping through your fingers? Like you're treading water in an ocean of endless distractions, obligations, and routines? You're working hard, you're keeping busy, but deep down, there's this nagging voice whispering, "Is this it? Is this what I'm meant to be doing?" You're not alone. Millions of us wake up every day feeling like something's missing, like we're not living the life we were meant to live. Maybe it's that job you settled for because it's safe. Maybe it's a relationship that feels more like an obligation than a connection. Or maybe it's the little things, the time wasted scrolling, the projects you never start, the dreams you keep locked away for someday. Here's the hard truth: someday doesn't come, and if we're not careful, years slip by unnoticed. So let me ask you this: what would it take for you to stop wasting your life? That's not an easy question to answer, but what if I told you that one of the greatest minds in psychology, Carl Jung, spent his entire life trying to help people like us figure it out? Jung wasn't just a thinker, he was a healer. He believed that much of our suffering comes from one thing: a disconnection between the life we're living and the life we're meant to live. And the longer we stay disconnected, the more restless, frustrated, and unfulfilled we feel. But here's the good news: it doesn't have to stay that way. Jung left us a roadmap, a guide to understanding ourselves and reclaiming the life we were born to live. His ideas are more than just theories. They're practical tools for anyone ready to take control and stop wasting their potential. What's wasting your life really about? Jung would say it's not laziness, bad luck, or a lack of opportunities. It's about ignoring the deeper parts of yourself, your desires, your fears, your potential. And the first step to changing that is understanding why you feel this way in the first place. Today we'll unpack his most powerful teachings, the ones that have the potential to act as your personal therapy. We'll explore why so many of us feel stuck, how his concept of the shadow can help us confront what's holding us back, and how the process of individuation can guide us toward a life of purpose and meaning. Imagine this: instead of waking up feeling stuck in a loop, you start each day with clarity, knowing exactly where you're headed and why. Instead of avoiding your fears, you confront them and grow stronger. Instead of wasting time on things that don't matter, you invest in what truly fulfills you. This isn't about adding more tasks to your to-do list or pretending life is easy. It's about diving deep, facing the truth about yourself, and transforming your life from the inside out. It's about finally taking ownership of your story because no one else will. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist who profoundly shaped the way we think about the human mind and our journey through life. Born in 1875, Jung began his career as a close collaborator with Sigmund Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis. But he quickly realized that his views on the human psyche were different, bigger in fact, than the ideas Freud focused on. He wasn't just interested in treating mental illness, he wanted to understand what makes us truly human and how we can live fulfilling lives. Jung's work gave birth to what we now call analytical psychology, a branch of psychology that looks at the deeper layers of our minds and how they influence our actions, thoughts, and emotions. What set Jung apart was his ability to connect science, philosophy, and spirituality. He wasn't afraid to dive into questions like, what does it mean to be whole? Why do we dream? Why do certain stories and symbols feel universal to all of humanity? His goal wasn't just to cure psychological problems, but to guide people toward becoming their truest selves. One of his most famous ideas is individuation, a process he described as becoming who you were always meant to be. He believed that each of us has a unique potential, a version of ourselves that we're meant to grow into. But to get there, we have to do some serious inner work. We have to face the parts of ourselves we usually ignore, uncover hidden strengths and weaknesses, and align our conscious choices with our deeper unconscious desires. For Jung, individuation wasn't just self-help jargon, it was the ultimate goal of life, a journey to wholeness. Another groundbreaking concept he introduced is the shadow, which represents all the parts of ourselves that we don't want to see or admit. Think about the traits you dislike in other people. Maybe it's arrogance, laziness, or selfishness. Often those traits trigger us because they exist within us too, hidden in our shadow. Jung believed that unless we face and integrate our shadow, it will control us from the background. In other words, the more we deny those hidden parts of ourselves, the more they show up in harmful ways, self-sabotage, destructive habits, or conflicts with others. Jung also talked about something called the collective unconscious, a fascinating idea that suggests all humans share a kind of universal mental blueprint. This collective unconscious is filled with archetypes, universal symbols, or patterns like the hero, the mentor, the trickster, or the shadow that show up in myths, stories, dreams, and even pop culture. Why do we resonate with stories like Star Wars or The Lion King? Because these archetypes are deeply rooted in our psyche. They're not just entertainment, they're reflections of our inner world and the challenges we face as we grow and change. But why does all of this matter today? You might be thinking, how does his work help me stop wasting my life? The truth is, his ideas are more relevant now than ever. In our fast-paced, achievement-driven world, many of us feel disconnected from ourselves. We're busy chasing external success, good grades, a well-paying job, social media validation, but we often ignore our inner needs, values, and desires. Jung would argue that this disconnect is the root of so much modern unhappiness. He believed that true fulfillment doesn't come from following the crowd or meeting other people's expectations. It comes from understanding who you are, embracing your uniqueness, and living in alignment with your deeper self. For example, let's talk about the shadow. How many times have you caught yourself procrastinating, getting into pointless arguments, or feeling irrationally jealous? These behaviors often stem from parts of ourselves we haven't dealt with. Our shadow. Jung's work teaches us that instead of blaming others or beating ourselves up, we need to look inward. What unmet need is driving that behavior? What fear or insecurity is hiding beneath it? By facing these questions, we can start to take control of our actions and make choices that align with our true selves. His concept of individuation is also incredibly powerful in a world that constantly tells us who to be. Social media, advertising, even well-meaning friends and family, they all shape our idea of what success looks like. But Jung's work reminds us that there's no one-size-fits-all formula for a meaningful life. Your path is unique to you, and the only way to find it is to dig deep, reflect, and listen to your inner voice. This isn't always easy. Individuation requires courage, honesty, and patience. But the reward? A life that feels authentic and fulfilling, where you're no longer wasting your potential chasing things that don't matter. And then there's the collective unconscious. This idea might sound abstract, but think about it this way. Why do certain stories or symbols resonate with us so deeply? Why do myths about heroes overcoming trials feel so universal? He believed it's because these stories reflect the challenges we all face on our personal journeys. Understanding the collective unconscious can give us tools for navigating our own lives. By recognizing the archetypes at play in our struggles, whether it's the hero fighting fear or the mentor offering wisdom, we can better understand our role in our own story. Jung's ideas aren't just intellectual exercises, they're tools for transformation. They help us see the bigger picture of our lives and give us a framework for making sense of our struggles. More importantly, they remind us that the answers we're looking for aren't out there somewhere. They're inside us, waiting to be uncovered. And that's why Carl Jung matters. His work isn't just about understanding the mind, it's about reclaiming your life. Let's take a moment to explore what it really means to waste your life. On the surface, it might seem obvious. Spending too much time on distractions, staying in situations that don't make you happy, or letting opportunities slip by, but it's more complex than that. Wasting your life isn't just about what you do or don't do, it's about living passively. It's about going through the motions of life without truly engaging with it. And the worst part? Many of us don't even realize we're doing it until it's too late. Living passively often means letting life happen to you instead of actively shaping it. It's waking up every day and following the same routine because it's comfortable, even if it doesn't fulfill you. Maybe you're stuck in a job that pays the bills but leaves you drained. You tell yourself, it's not so bad, I'll figure out what I really want to do later. But days turn into months, and months turn into years. Or maybe you're in a relationship that feels stagnant, but the idea of starting over feels overwhelming, so you stay, convincing yourself that settling is easier than growing. This is what it means to waste your life, letting fear, habit, or convenience dictate your choices instead of your inner voice. Another major way people waste their lives is by ignoring their inner potential. Every one of us has talents, passions, and dreams. But instead of exploring them, we often bury them under excuses. I'm too busy, I'm not good enough, I'll try when things calm down. Procrastination is a big part of this. How many times have you wanted to start something new, a project, a skill, a dream, but found yourself scrolling through social media or watching TV instead? Procrastination isn't just about being lazy, it's often a sign that we're afraid of failing, afraid of judgment, or even afraid of succeeding. Carl Jung would argue that this avoidance isn't random, it's a symptom of a deeper disconnection from our true selves. And that brings us to another key aspect of wasting your life: being overly influenced by external expectations. Think about how much of what you do is shaped by what other people think. Maybe you pursued a certain career because it's what your parents wanted. Maybe you spend more time curating your social media image than building real relationships because you're chasing likes and validation. Society, family, and peers often impose expectations that don't align with who we really are. Jung believed this external influence is one of the main reasons people feel lost or unfulfilled. When you live according to someone else's script, you're not living your life, you're living theirs. For Jung, wasting your life often boils down to disconnection. He believed that our unconscious mind holds the key to understanding our true desires, fears, and potential. But when we ignore this inner world, when we let our conscious mind override it with distractions, excuses, and external pressures, we become fragmented. It's like trying to drive a car while ignoring the engine. On the surface, you might look fine, but deep down, you're not running smoothly. This disconnection creates a sense of restlessness, boredom, or even despair. One way this disconnection manifests is through unfulfilling jobs or relationships. How many people stay in careers they hate because they're afraid of change? How many people stay in toxic relationships because they fear loneliness? These situations might feel safe, but they come at a cost. Jung would say that staying in these situations is like rejecting a part of yourself. Your unconscious mind knows what you truly want and need, and when you ignore it, you feel stuck and unsatisfied. Procrastination is another form of disconnection. It's easy to write off procrastination as laziness, but Jung saw it as a deeper problem. When you put off important tasks or avoid pursuing your dreams, it's often because there's a conflict between your conscious mind and your unconscious desires. Maybe you're afraid of failure, so you distract yourself to avoid facing that fear. Or maybe the task you're avoiding doesn't align with your true values, so your unconscious mind resists it. Understanding these hidden motivations can help you break free from the cycle of procrastination and start living with purpose. Another trap is spending too much time seeking external validation. Whether it's through social media, material possessions, or accomplishments, many of us chase things that make us look good to others. But these things rarely bring true satisfaction. Jung would argue that this pursuit of external validation is a way of avoiding the hard work of looking inward. Instead of asking, "What do I really want?" we ask, "What will make me look successful?" This disconnect from our inner desires is a recipe for wasting our lives. So what's the solution? Jung believed that the first step is recognizing the disconnection. Pay attention to the parts of your life that feel unfulfilling or empty. Are you staying in a situation because it's comfortable or because it truly aligns with your values? Are you procrastinating because you're lazy or because you're afraid? Are you chasing external success or are you pursuing what genuinely matters to you? These questions can help you uncover the ways you've been living passively and ignoring your inner self. Living with purpose requires courage. It means confronting the parts of yourself that you'd rather avoid, your fears, your insecurities, your regrets. It means taking risks and stepping outside your comfort zone. But Jung would argue that this is the only way to stop wasting your life. When you align your actions with your inner desires, you start to feel a sense of wholeness and fulfillment. You're no longer just going through the motions, you're actively creating a life that feels meaningful. The good news is that it's never too late to change. Whether you're a teenager figuring out your path, or an adult who feels like you've wasted years, Jung's work offers a roadmap for reconnecting with yourself. By exploring your unconscious mind, facing your fears, and letting go of external expectations, you can start living a life that feels authentic and purposeful. It's not easy, but as Jung himself said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. So take a moment to reflect. Where in your life are you living passively? What dreams or desires have you been ignoring? What would it look like to reconnect with your true self? These questions might be uncomfortable, but they're also the first step toward reclaiming your life. And the sooner you start asking them, the sooner you can stop wasting your potential and start living the life you are meant to live. Carl Jung's ideas aren't just theoretical, they're practical tools for reclaiming your life and living it fully. At the core of his work is the belief that we all have the potential to become our truest, most fulfilled selves. But to get there, we need to understand who we are at a deep level and align our actions with our inner values and desires. Jung laid out several key concepts that can help us on this journey, and applying them can transform the way we live. One of his most powerful ideas is individuation, which he described as the process of becoming the person you were always meant to be. Think of individuation as a journey toward wholeness. It's about discovering your unique strengths, values, and purpose, and using them to guide your life. According to Jung, many people waste their lives because they never embark on this journey. Instead, they live in ways that please others or follow societal expectations, ignoring the unique potential that lies within them. Individuation isn't about perfection, it's about authenticity. It means asking yourself, what really matters to me? What kind of person do I want to be? This process requires you to strip away the layers of influence from parents, friends, culture, and even your own fears so you can uncover what's truly yours. When you align your life with your core values and strengths, you stop feeling like you're drifting or wasting time. Instead, you gain clarity and purpose. To start the individuation process, take time to reflect on your life. What are your strengths? What activities make you feel alive? What are the values that guide your decisions? Write these down and think about how they align with the life you're currently living. If there's a gap between who you are and how you're living, that's where your work begins. The shadow, facing the parts of yourself you suppress. Jung's concept of the shadow is another powerful tool for transformation. The shadow is made up of all the parts of yourself that you deny, suppress, or ignore. your fears, insecurities, selfishness, anger, and even unrecognized strengths. We all have a shadow, and if we don't confront it, it can control us in ways we don't even realize. It might show up as self-sabotage, toxic relationships, procrastination, or irrational fears. Why is facing the shadow so important? Because the parts of yourself you suppress don't just disappear, they lurk in the background, influencing your thoughts and actions in subtle but powerful ways. For example, if you suppress your anger, it might come out as passive-aggressive behavior or unexplained frustration. If you deny your ambition, you might find yourself resenting others who succeed. He believed that integrating the shadow, accepting and understanding these hidden parts of yourself is essential for living a full and authentic life. How do you confront your shadow? Start by paying attention to what triggers you. Do certain people or situations make you angry, jealous, or anxious? These reactions can be clues to parts of yourself that you've been avoiding. Journaling can also help. Write down your thoughts and feelings honestly, without judgment. Ask yourself, what am I afraid to admit about myself? What part of me do I not want others to see? Facing these questions might feel uncomfortable, but it's the first step to breaking free from the patterns that hold you back. Meaning and myth. Finding your purpose through symbols. Jung believed that humans are deeply connected to symbols and stories. Myths, dreams, and art aren't just random. They reflect universal truths about the human experience. He called these universal patterns archetypes, and he believed they live in our collective unconscious. Archetypes like the hero, the mentor, or the shadow represent the challenges and transformations we all face in life. By tapping into these symbols and stories, we can find meaning and purpose in our own lives. Think about the stories or symbols that resonate with you. Maybe you've always been drawn to tales of overcoming great odds or embarking on a journey of self-discovery. These aren't just entertaining, they're reflections of the inner journey you need to take. Recognizing these patterns can help you understand your own struggles and guide you toward the life you want to live. For example, if you feel stuck or lost, you might identify with the archetype of the hero. The hero's journey is about stepping out of your comfort zone, facing challenges, and growing stronger in the process. Thinking of your life in these terms can give you a sense of purpose and direction. You're not just aimlessly drifting, you're on a journey, and every challenge you face is an opportunity for growth. Jung's concepts might seem abstract at first, but there are practical ways to apply them to your life. Here are some steps you can take today. 1. Journaling and dream analysis. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to connect with your unconscious mind is to start a journal. Write down your thoughts, feelings, and recurring dreams. Dreams, according to Jung, are messages from your unconscious. They often use symbols to reveal what's going on beneath the surface. Pay attention to recurring symbols or themes in your dreams and ask yourself what they might represent. For example, if you often dream of being lost, it might reflect feelings of uncertainty or a lack of direction in your waking life. 2. Explore what excites or frustrates you. Your emotions are powerful guides. What activities or ideas make you feel alive and energized? What situations frustrate or anger you? These reactions are clues to your shadow and your true desires. For example, if you feel jealous of someone who's pursuing their passion, it might be a sign that you're ignoring your own creative potential. Use these feelings as starting points for self-reflection. 3. Practice self-honesty. Living authentically requires brutal honesty with yourself. Take a hard look at your life and ask, am I living according to my values, or am I just going through the motions? Be willing to admit where you've been settling, avoiding, or procrastinating. This isn't about beating yourself up, it's about creating a clear picture of where you are so you can decide where you want to go. 4. Integrate your shadow. Once you've identified parts of your shadow, work on accepting them. This doesn't mean indulging in harmful behaviors. It means understanding and integrating those parts of yourself in healthy ways. For example, if you've suppressed your anger, find constructive ways to express it, like setting boundaries or standing up for yourself. If you've denied your need for rest, give yourself permission to take a break without guilt. 5. Connect with symbols and stories. Look for inspiration in myths, art, and stories that resonate with you. Reflect on how these symbols apply to your own life. For example, if you admire the resilience of a fictional character, ask yourself how you can embody that quality in your own challenges. Jung's teachings aren't quick fixes. They're tools for lifelong growth. They require patience, reflection, and courage. But the reward is worth it. By embracing these ideas, you can stop wasting your life on things that don't matter and start living with purpose, authenticity, and meaning. You'll move from a state of disconnection to one of alignment, where your actions reflect your true self and your life feels like your own. This journey isn't easy, but as he reminds us, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The work might be challenging, but it's also liberating. The more you understand yourself, the more you can take control of your life and create a path that feels meaningful and fulfilling. It's not always easy to realize when you're wasting your life. We get caught up in routines, responsibilities, and distractions, often pushing aside the uneasy feelings that tell us something is wrong. But those feelings, boredom, dissatisfaction, or a nagging sense of being stuck, are like warning lights on the dashboard of your car. They're signals from your unconscious mind telling you it's time to pay attention and make a change. Carl Jung believed these signals are not random. They're your psyche's way of urging you to wake up and take control of your life. One of the most obvious signs that you might be wasting your life is chronic boredom or dissatisfaction. This isn't the kind of boredom you feel when you're waiting in line or sitting through a dull lecture. It's a deeper, persistent feeling that your life is missing something important. Maybe you go to work every day, but it feels like a grind. You're not excited by what you do, and you can't see how it connects to anything meaningful. Even your free time might feel empty, filled with mindless scrolling, binge watching, or other distractions that don't bring real joy. If you constantly feel like you're just killing time, it's a clear sign that something needs to change. Another warning sign is feeling unmotivated or stuck. Do you wake up in the morning without any sense of purpose? Do you find yourself procrastinating, even on things that are important? Feeling stuck can happen for a lot of reasons. Maybe you're afraid of failure, so you avoid taking risks. Maybe you're overwhelmed by the choices in front of you, so you don't make any decisions at all. Or maybe you've been living on autopilot for so long that you've forgotten what you're even passionate about. Jung would say this feeling of being stuck is often a sign that you're out of alignment with your deeper self. Your unconscious mind knows you're capable of more, but your conscious mind is resisting the change. Living according to other people's expectations is another way we waste our lives, even if we don't realize it. From a young age, we're taught to seek approval, from parents, teachers, friends, and society as a whole. Maybe you chose a career because it was practical, not because you loved it. Maybe you're in a relationship because it looks good from the outside, even though it doesn't truly make you happy. When you make decisions based on what others want or expect, you're not living your life, you're living theirs. Over time, this can lead to a deep sense of dissatisfaction because you're ignoring your own desires and values. Jung believed that these feelings, boredom, dissatisfaction, lack of motivation, and the pressure to conform are all signals from the unconscious mind. They're not random annoyances, they're messages. Your unconscious is trying to get your attention, urging you to stop and reflect. When you ignore these signals, they often grow louder, manifesting as anxiety, depression, or even physical symptoms like fatigue. But if you take the time to listen, these signals can guide you toward a more authentic and fulfilling life. So, how do you know if these warning signs apply to you? Start by asking yourself some tough questions. Are you truly happy with how you're spending your days? Do you feel like you're making progress towards something meaningful, or are you just going through the motions? When was the last time you felt genuinely excited about something? These questions might feel uncomfortable, but they're an essential part of self-reflection. Let's talk more about boredom. Many people dismiss boredom as a minor annoyance, but Jung saw it as a powerful clue. If you're bored, it's often because your life lacks meaning or purpose. Maybe you've fallen into a routine that's too predictable, or maybe you're avoiding challenges that could help you grow. Boredom is your unconscious mind's way of saying, there's more to life than this. Instead of brushing it off, try to understand what it's telling you. What parts of your life feel empty or unfulfilling? What would it take to bring more excitement or curiosity into your day? The feeling of being stuck is another warning sign worth exploring. When you're stuck, it's like your life is on pause. You might know what you want to do, but you can't seem to take the first step, or maybe you don't know what you want at all, so you avoid making decisions. This paralysis often comes from fear of failure, fear of making the wrong choice, or fear of leaving your comfort zone. Jung believed that these fears are tied to the shadow, the parts of ourselves we suppress or deny. Facing your shadow can help you understand what's holding you back and give you the courage to move forward. Living for others is perhaps the most insidious way to waste your life, because it often feels like you're doing the right thing. After all, isn't it good to make your parents proud, to meet society's expectations, or to fit in with your peers? But when you live for others, you sacrifice your own happiness and authenticity. Jung would say that this is a form of disconnection from your true self. Over time, it can lead to resentment, burnout, or a sense of emptiness. The solution isn't to ignore others' opinions entirely, but to balance them with your own needs and desires. If any of these warning signs resonate with you, don't panic. Recognizing them is the first step toward change. Take some time to reflect on where you are and where you want to go. You might start by journaling about the areas of your life that feel unfulfilling. Ask yourself why you feel bored, stuck, or disconnected. What's missing? What are you avoiding? These questions can help you uncover the root causes of your dissatisfaction. Jung's work teaches us that these warning signs aren't something to fear or avoid. They're opportunities. They're your mind's way of telling you that it's time to grow, to change, and to live more authentically. The process isn't easy. It requires courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. But it's also deeply rewarding. By listening to these signals and taking action, you can stop wasting your life and start living in a way that feels meaningful and true to who you are. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, are you happy with your life? If not, what needs to change? These questions might not have easy answers, but they're the ones that matter most. And the sooner you start asking them, the sooner you can begin the journey toward a life that feels truly yours. Taking control of your life isn't about flipping a switch and expecting everything to change overnight. It's about making consistent, conscious decisions to align your actions with who you truly are and what you truly want. Jung's teachings provide a powerful framework for this process. By facing your shadow, seeking meaning, and embracing growth, you can gradually reclaim your path and live a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. Let's break this down into actionable steps that you can start today. 1. Face the shadow. reflect on uncomfortable truths about yourself. One of the most important yet challenging steps in taking control of your life is confronting your shadow. The shadow, as Jung described it, consists of the parts of yourself that you don't want to acknowledge, your fears, insecurities, and flaws, but also hidden strengths and untapped potential. These parts of you don't go away just because you ignore them. In fact, the more you suppress them, the more control they can exert over your life in unconscious ways. Facing your shadow starts with self-honesty. This means taking a deep, unfiltered look at yourself. What are the habits or patterns in your life that you're not proud of? Are you quick to anger, or do you avoid confrontation at all costs? Do you struggle with procrastination, or do you find yourself constantly seeking approval from others? These behaviors often stem from parts of your shadow. For example, if you procrastinate, it might be because you're afraid of failure. If you avoid confrontation, it might be because you fear rejection. To begin this process, set aside time for reflection. Journaling can be a powerful tool. Write about the situations or people that trigger strong emotions in you. Ask yourself why those situations bother you so much. Often the traits we dislike in others are mirrors of the traits we deny in ourselves. For example, if arrogance irritates you, it could be because you've suppressed your own confidence. By acknowledging these hidden parts of yourself, you can start to integrate them in healthy ways. Facing your shadow isn't about beating yourself up or trying to fix yourself. It's about understanding that every part of you, even the ones you don't like, has something valuable to teach you. When you confront these truths head-on, you take away their power to control you. You become more self-aware, more balanced, and more capable of making intentional choices. 2. Seek meaning. Explore your interests and passions. Once you've begun to face your shadow, the next step is to seek meaning in your life. Jung believed that a life without meaning is one of the greatest sources of unhappiness. Meaning isn't something you find outside of yourself, it's something you create by exploring what genuinely excites and fulfills you. What are the things that make you feel alive? What would you spend your time doing if there were no limits or expectations? Start by asking yourself some simple but powerful questions. What do I truly care about? What am I curious about? What activities make me lose track of time? These questions can help you uncover your passions and interests. Don't worry if the answers don't seem grand or impressive. Meaning doesn't have to come from a life-changing career or a world-famous talent. It can come from small, everyday things, helping others, creating art, learning something new, or simply spending time with people you care about. If you're unsure where to start, try experimenting. Take a class, read a book on a topic you've always been curious about, or try a new hobby. Pay attention to how these activities make you feel. Do they energize you? Do they spark your curiosity? If something doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. The process of seeking meaning is about trial and error. What matters is that you're actively engaging with your life and discovering what brings you joy and purpose. Jung also emphasized the importance of symbolic thinking in finding meaning. Symbols, myths, and archetypes can help you connect with deeper layers of your psyche. For example, think about the stories or characters you've always admired. Maybe you're drawn to the hero archetype, which represents courage and growth, or perhaps the creator archetype, which embodies innovation and imagination. These archetypes can provide clues about the qualities and values that are most important to you. 3. Embrace growth. See challenges as opportunities for transformation. Growth isn't always easy. It often involves stepping outside of your comfort zone, facing setbacks, and pushing through discomfort. But Jung believed that challenges and struggles are essential for personal transformation. In fact, he argued that growth often comes from confronting difficulties rather than avoiding them. To embrace growth, start by shifting your mindset about challenges. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, try to view them as opportunities to learn and evolve. For example, If you've recently faced a failure, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use it to become stronger or wiser? Growth doesn't mean avoiding pain or difficulty. It means finding meaning in those experiences and using them as stepping stones toward a better version of yourself. A great way to embrace growth is to set small, achievable goals that challenge you. These goals should push you just outside your comfort zone but still feel manageable. For instance, if you struggle with social anxiety, your goal might be to start a conversation with a new person once a week. If you've been avoiding a creative project because you're afraid of failure, your goal might be to spend 30 minutes a day working on it, regardless of the outcome. Each time you achieve a goal, no matter how small, you'll build confidence and momentum. Remember that growth isn't a straight path. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt. But these moments are part of the process. Jung compared personal growth to the process of alchemy, turning lead into gold. Just like in alchemy, transformation takes time, effort, and patience. Each challenge you face is an opportunity to refine and strengthen yourself, bringing you closer to your true potential. If there's one thing Jung's teachings make clear, it's that personal transformation isn't a quick fix. The journey to reclaim your life and become your true self is a lifelong process. It requires patience, persistence, and self-compassion. You won't have all the answers right away, and that's okay. What matters is that you're willing to take the first step and keep moving forward. One of the biggest mistakes people make is expecting immediate results. They want to wake up one day and feel completely fulfilled and in control. But real growth doesn't work that way. It happens gradually, through small changes and consistent effort. Think of it like planting a seed. You can't force it to grow overnight. You have to nurture it, give it time, and trust the process. As you embark on this journey, be kind to yourself. There will be days when you feel like you're making progress and days when you feel stuck or discouraged. That's normal. Personal growth is a messy, non-linear process. The important thing is to keep showing up for yourself, even when it feels hard. Jung believed that the process of individuation, becoming your true self, is the greatest adventure of a lifetime. It's not about reaching a final destination, it's about embracing the journey. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to a life that feels authentic and meaningful, and that in the end is what it means to truly take control of your life. Life is fleeting. The days pass quickly, and before you know it, weeks, months, and years can slip by. It's easy to tell yourself that there's plenty of time to make changes, that you'll get to it tomorrow or someday. But here's the harsh truth. Time doesn't wait. The longer you ignore your inner voice, the harder it becomes to reclaim your path. That sense of dissatisfaction or restlessness you feel is your unconscious mind urging you to act, to stop drifting, and to start living a life that truly matters. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Think about that for a moment. Becoming your true self isn't just a goal, it's the most important journey you can undertake. It's not something you can delegate to someone else, and it's not something you can put off forever without consequences. Every day you delay, you're drifting further from the person you're meant to be. The time to act is now, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Procrastination might feel harmless, but it's a thief. Every moment you spend waiting to start is a moment you'll never get back. Think about the stories you tell yourself. I'll start when I have more time, or I'll focus on myself after I've handled this or that. The truth is, there's never going to be a perfect time. Life will always be busy, and there will always be distractions. If you keep waiting for the stars to align, you'll wake up one day wondering where your life went. Jung's work emphasizes that these feelings of boredom, dissatisfaction, and disconnection aren't just random. They're signals from your unconscious mind. They're your psyche's way of telling you that something needs to change. If you ignore them, those feelings don't just go away, they grow stronger, often manifesting as anxiety, depression, or a persistent sense of unease. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to break free from these patterns and reclaim your life. So, where do you start? The idea of transforming your life can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. You don't need to make drastic changes overnight. The key is to start small, with consistent, intentional actions that bring you closer to your true self. Remember, Jung's process of individuation, the journey to becoming who you truly are, isn't about quick fixes. It's a lifelong journey, and every step forward counts. Begin by setting aside time to reflect. Take out a journal and write about your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. What parts of your life feel unfulfilling? What dreams or passions have you been ignoring? What fears or insecurities are holding you back? Be honest with yourself. This is your chance to face the truths you've been avoiding and start exploring the depths of who you are. You might also consider exploring Jung's writings. Books like Man and His Symbols or The Undiscovered Self can provide valuable insights into the workings of your unconscious mind. Don't feel pressured to understand everything right away. Jung's ideas are deep and complex, and it's okay to take your time. The goal isn't to master his teachings overnight, but to use them as tools for self-discovery and growth. Once you take the first step, you'll start to build momentum. Each small action you take, whether it's journaling, reflecting on a dream, or setting a new goal, brings you closer to the life you want. Over time, these small actions add up, creating a ripple effect that can transform your entire life. The key is to stay consistent even when it feels challenging. Change doesn't happen in a straight line. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt, but each step forward is progress. Think of this journey as planting a garden. At first it might feel like nothing is happening. You're digging in the dirt, planting seeds and waiting for them to grow. But with time, care, and patience, those seeds begin to sprout. The same is true for your personal growth. The work you put in today might not yield immediate results, but over time, you'll see the fruits of your effort. As you take these steps, imagine the life you could create. Picture a version of yourself who wakes up each day with clarity and purpose. Imagine feeling confident in your decisions, knowing they're aligned with your values and goals. Think about the sense of fulfillment that comes from pursuing your passions, building meaningful relationships, and living authentically. This isn't just a fantasy, it's a real possibility, but it requires action. The person you want to become is waiting for you, but you have to take the first step to meet them. The longer you wait, the further away that person drifts. But every small action you take brings you closer, bridging the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Taking control of your life isn't just about feeling happier or more fulfilled, it's about honoring your potential. You have unique strengths, talents, and gifts that no one else possesses. By ignoring them, you're not just wasting your life, you're depriving the world of what only you can offer. Jung believed that each person has a role to play in the greater tapestry of humanity. By becoming your true self, you contribute to something larger than yourself. This journey also matters because it's your life. No one else can live it for you. At the end of the day, you're the one who has to answer the question, did I live fully? Did I honor my potential? These questions might feel far away, but they're closer than you think. The choices you make today determine the life you'll look back on tomorrow. Remember, this video is just the beginning. The real transformation happens when you take what you've learned and apply it to your life. Becoming your true self is the privilege of a lifetime, but it's also a responsibility. No one else can do it for you, and no one else will benefit from it as much as you will. The journey isn't easy, but it's worth every step. Each action you take, no matter how small, is a declaration that your life matters, that your potential matters, and that you're ready to honor both. The time to start is now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Begin where you are, with what you have, and trust that each step forward will bring you closer to the life you're meant to live. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, so take that privilege and make it count.